Welcome back to the Rock Doc Chronicles podcast. I am your ever-loving Rock Doc, Randy Sharma. And, usually on Fridays we have City Council President Shannon Hardin here, but there's really not a whole lot going on. So he has better things to do than talk to me. But there are still a lot of things that we could cover that I think are important. Of course, if you want the latest numbers on Columbus, the Columbus Public Health Department is now putting those numbers online every Friday. So you can check out the latest numbers with demographics at columbus.gov/coronavirus. Now, everybody, I don't know a single person that has not been affected by the coronavirus. In particular, small business owners and restaurants have been hit really, really hard. It was actually a month ago right now, today, that Governor DeWine issued the order to shut down restaurants and bars from dine-in service. And that's pretty massive. According to the Ohio Restaurant Association, Ohio has about 585,000 restaurant employees, which is a total of about 10% of Ohio's workforce. Now we keep saying we're all in this together and we've all, got to try to get through this together. But we're all kind of in the same boat as well, and then that we're struggling with this. And, it's hard to focus on how we can help others when we're struggling to navigate these times ourselves. That's exactly a story that I want to share with you about a new nonprofit called Service with an exclamation point. It's a relief effort for hospitality workers. And I'm going to welcome in a second, a good friend of mine, Chef Sangeeta Lakhani, who is started this great effort with some colleagues of hers. Welcome to the podcast, Sang. How are you?
I'm actually much better today than I have been in weeks.
Yeah, it's probably been a little stressful, I assume.
Slightly.
Sure.
I don't know why. There's not much going on out there in the world. You'd think I'd be well rested right now, but
yeah. Well, that doesn't happen, especially with you. Now, you've been in restaurants for a long time, for like what, about 25 years? You've been working in restaurants right. And whatnot. So you started like when you were probably about 7 years old, since you're about 32 now.
Yeah.
Right. And this actually restaurants, we'll probably do an entire episode about you in the future, because just fascinating stuff. Because you're not trained as a chef. You were not trained to cook, but you obviously do an amazing job. Now we crossed paths first a while ago, but then really got to know each other when you opened Bodega in the Short North with Colin Castor. Since then, you sold Bodega, and Colin went on to open Seventh Sun Brewery, and now Antiques on High, and you opened The Table, which is a phenomenal restaurant, obviously one of my favorites.
With Jen.
With Jen Marlette, sure. Now, the entire time since I've known you, you've been a bit of a mother hen. You really protect your team members. You consider them to be like family, and so this has been particularly emotionally taxing for you, right?
It is. In any situation where your flock is untethered, as a leader, as a shepherd, as a whatever term you want to use it, Mama Sang, you do. Like I am just that person. Like my protective instincts do kick in. I'm a problem solver. Like I need to fix things.
Right. Of course, you kind of had to, first of all, how is this? You've been trying to, at least you started off trying to keep the restaurant open for carry-out meals. But at this point, how has the shutdown, the stay-at-home orders, how's that affected your business at The Table?
It's crazy. It's, we're a small business, obviously a small restaurant in the Short North, and the last couple years in the Short North were difficult enough. For
because of construction,
because of the construction, all the changes, parking variances, all of that made it really difficult for most small businesses, including retail in the Short North, to get through the last couple of years. And then just when we get what we think is to the other side of that construction, I know there's still a few more years left, but just as we get business coming back a little bit because the construction isn't right outside our restaurant anymore, then we get hit with COVID. So it was a huge impact. So obviously, as you know, like we are still doing, The Table is still operating carry out once a week.
So just 1 day a week?
1 day a week. We tried initially to do it 3 days a week, but As supportive as the public is trying to be of local restaurants, there is a lot of restaurants in town to support, and everybody's trying to save their pennies right now. So even if you're trying to eat out once a week, you're not seeing that much repeat business because people are trying to support every restaurant that they can.
So that would mean that you've had to lay off most of your staff. Is that would I be correct in assuming that?
Yep. Um, I have about two, three chefs that are still working alongside with me. Of course, Jen is in there working with me, and um, we're doing the best that we can. We're basically, our initial goal with like trying to do carry out was to make sure that our staff had been paid off for the last week that they worked before the shutdown was ordered, because income suddenly stopped, but we still owed them money for the last paycheck. So it was basically to make sure that we took care of them first.
That's phenomenally commendable. But that's who you are. So I'm assuming that they've all applied for unemployment at this point. Do you know have they? I've seen a lot of people saying they haven't gotten their first checks yet. Do you know if any of your staff members have gotten checks yet?
I heard one person yesterday tell me that they got their check. They got 3 weeks worth of money. So from the first week that they applied, that's the only one person within my staff that I know.
So now we're coming up on a month where they haven't gotten paid, they haven't worked, so they haven't gotten tips. Where does that leave them? I mean, one of the things is they're not, you only have so much money and you have to eat. So are they having trouble eating? Are they having trouble getting food? I mean, of course, rent's going to be an issue.
It's all of it, right? I mean, now, like the first couple of weeks, everybody might have had like a little bit stashed away for a rainy day. So your initial whatever savings might get you through a couple of weeks. We gave everybody food initially when we shut down the restaurant, all the produce we had, everything that we could give people, we made sure they were stocked up. They know they can call us at any point if they run out of toilet paper, food, whatever it is that they need.
That's great, but not everybody has or is able to be as supportive of their staffs.
Right. But I
And
also think
so
now people are starting to feel the pinch, because now you're going into week 4. People have used up their resources. People might have, not everybody, but there are employees that have a kid at home, or a partner, or parents to support, or,
mhm,
I mean, families in Mexico that they're sending money home.
sure,
Like,
sure.
there's a lot of different situations, and getting like a fifth of your wages in unemployment 3 weeks later isn't really anything that's going to help you survive.
So, I mean, you said you're a problem solver, and you came up with an idea that that you launched this week, and it's how you did this as quickly is pretty phenomenal. But can you tell us a little bit about service, about what the organization is, how this came about, and yeah, we'll start there.
Yeah, so service was a conversation between Matt Heaggans from Ambrose and Eve and I, after the first week of our restaurant shutting down and our initial reaction phase. We started chatting a little bit, and we were like, we have to do something. Like, we both laid off a lot of people, um, and we know a lot of the people that have been laid off by other restaurants at some point or the other have worked for us or come through our restaurants, or you know
Hmm.
had drinks at bodega or whatever it is. Like, we know a lot of the people that this has affected
Hmm.
personally. um, so what do we do? What do we know how to do? What are we best at doing? We're good at
Cooking.
feeding people, right? We
Yeah.
cook. We're good at feeding people, so we wanted to help the people that
So,
got us to the place that we are in
so
life.
how are you doing that? You and Matt. So what's the plan here?
So it's the table in Ambrose and Eve. And Ambrose and Eve is under the umbrella of Muse Hospitality. So it's Matt Heaggans, Catie Randazzo, Reed Woogerd, and Letha Pugh, who is the owner of Bake Me Happy.
Mm-hmm.
And we all have our strengths. Letha's great with numbers. Reed is great at marketing. And, Matt and I cook. So we came together and we used our network. We're lucky in a place like Columbus, Ohio, that when you make your mark in the restaurant world or in the retail world, you have a village around you that
Yeah.
is willing to step up and support you.
So you guys are you're cooking, you're marketing. So how are you helping your employees out, or other people's employees, the old staff, the hospitality staff folks that have been laid off?
So we are providing 200 to 400 meals a day for free to anybody in the service industry.
That's a lot of
Bartenders,
meals.
servers, dishwashers, whoever it is that needs one healthy meal a day. We're providing meals 7 days a week out of 2 locations. So we make the meals here at the ECDI kitchen, then they're transported to the table and to Ambrose and Eve. People log into our website, pre-order their meals so we know how many to cook, and pick their location and time so we can still adhere to like social distancing protocols and not have too many people lining up. And in doing so, we've been actually able to employ some of our staff. We are working with a nonprofit, but we have built into our budget to be able to at least pay a few people.
Mm-hmm.
So there are a few people that have been able to have employment through this.
So like how many people are in the kitchen? So that's cooking for 200 or 400 folks is a lot of people.
Yeah, well, but we have to still keep it under 10 people so we can adhere to the rules that are in place right now. So we usually don't have more than 4 or 5 people in the kitchen plus Matt and I. Mm-hmm. And then one person at each location to take care of like the contactless pickup for people to come and grab
and
their
I see around your neck you've got a mask, so everybody's wearing their masks. You're keeping socially distant. You just walked me through the kitchen a little bit ago, but I didn't record that. This is not free. That's not going to be cheap to try to feed several hundred people every day. How is this getting paid for?
So I think the biggest obstacle initially when we came up with this harebrained idea was how do we, start a nonprofit and start it right now, because people don't have time. People were hungry now. Like we need to feed them now. So we were blessed in knowing people like Timothy Wolfstar and Adam Brule, and we got to sign up with them and use Independence Day as our fiscal agent for our nonprofit. So all our money goes through them, and then they give it to us to use. 100% of the money that is donated through Independence Day comes to service. We also have t-shirts for sale. Each t-shirt provides about 3 or 4 meals. $25 buys us 5 meals.
And so to back up a second, so people can donate or buy a shirt at the website, which is www.servicerelief.org, I believe, right? SERVICERELIEF.org. So you can donate there, and that's also where folks that are trying to sign up to get meals go as well, correct?
Correct.
So, but you can only get so much money through donations, right? Where from individual donations, are there any corporate sponsors? Has anybody donated money or donated goods or services?
Right, all of that. Obviously, resources that come with people like Independence Day is really helpful to us. Besides that, we've had Washers From that has donated pots, pans, carry bags, carry out boxes, whatever we've kind of needed as we go along. Cover My Meds was instrumental. They donated a chunk, and they'd like to continue the partnership. ECDI, which is a company that does microloans in town, they gave us use of their commercial kitchen space, the Food Fort, which is where food trucks work out of.
Yep, that's where you're at right now.
So so the village has come into play to support this.
That's great, and I've seen you've been getting a fair amount of press for this with this, and not that you're doing it to get press, but you'd mentioned to me before we talked earlier today that one of the challenges is people are not necessarily signing up for this. or I don't know if they're just not aware. I mean, you're trying to grow your capacity.
Yeah, I think there's like multiple folds to that. I think one is we're new, we're on
Mhm.
day 3. So it is a matter of people finding out about it and just doing it. It's that simple. I think there are a lot of people that feel like, oh, my unemployment check's going to come through and somebody else might need the meal more. Uh, but then there is that big part of it that we're service industry people. We've always had food.
Mhm.
And it's really hard to wrap your mind around the fact that now you're the person that's waiting in line for a free meal, right?
Yeah.
And not,
Yeah.
I don't think pride is the right word. I don't think ego is the right word. I don't know what that that inner conversation is that we're struggling with to get to that point where we're like, wow, we've always served the meals and
Yeah.
now we're looking for a meal, you know.
Right. I mean, when you're used to being the server and now you're asking to be the served, that's one thing. But I mean, it's also part of this. I think was probably more now the idea of, you have a family meal, a staff meal. A lot of times when you're at restaurants at the end of the night, and this is almost like you guys doing that for everybody that's in the
Everybody
service
in
industry.
this, right?
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
pretty fantastic. I was thinking one other thing, and I
And I
just
keep
totally.
telling people too, I'm like, you have a chance where you can like rub it in your boss's face and be like, yeah, it's your turn to serve me. Like,
Right, right,
I know how hard I was working. Like,
right.
so,
I,
take advantage of it.
right,
I'm
because
for
you and Matt are in the kitchen, right? I mean, you guys are working in the
That's
kitchen.
right here.
There, hey Matt, um, that's pretty phenomenal. 'Cause, I mean, there's no, even if you go to a food bank, I mean, the lines of food banks across the country are outrageous right now, understandably. At least this way, you don't have to cook the food. I mean, if you're a service industry person, you're gonna have a great meal. I'm sure you've already done like beef chili and a tofu chili. You did. I saw mac and cheese and cornbread. I mean, you guys
We
are
had chicken lettuce wraps. We have stuffed peppers coming up tomorrow. We will always have a meat and a vegetable version of whatever we're cooking.
mhm.
Um, we're trying to sneak as many vegetables into each dish as we can. We're service industry people, right? Like we're used to getting fed. So we have like a little bit more of a refined palate. We're spoiled when it comes to
Sure.
food. So I want to make sure when we put food out, we're not just
Yeah, putting out
schlepping
garbage.
out garbage.
Um, Also, has anybody been donating food itself or produce itself to be used, or is it just the money that you're getting really from
Uh,
donations and from Cover
we
My
actually
Meds?
got an amazing email from Jamie Anderson at Ray's, and he is going to be donating a lot of food to us. So
Wow.
yeah, I know people will get excited about eating some of Jamie's food. Ian Holmes from Coastal Local Seafood is donating some seafood to us to use. He himself is a small business, so for those guys to come together and donate at a time where they've had to, tighten their belts a bit is really commendable. So there are people coming together to help. I mean,
That's awesome. I mean, that's what we call it the Columbus way. We always, we tend to work together and we we get to, the networking here is amazing. We always take care of each other, and that's phenomenal. Anything else we need to know? I mean, if you're an industry person, you can
you
go to
shorted out
service
your
relief
food.
dot. Oh, you can go to servicerelief.org to sign up. Also, if you'd like to donate, you can same website www.servicerelief.org. Anything else you want to share with us, saying?
No, just let people know, we have meals for them. There is absolutely like zero shame involved in letting us serve you. We need to
Right.
take care of our people. Like when and if we come out of this, when restaurants do open again, we're not going to be able to do this without the service industry. So we need them to stay hopeful and healthy and strong. And I also want to say thank you to all the people that have reached out to volunteer. As I wrap my head around where those voids are, I will definitely let people know how they can help out. But for now, money. I mean, we need money to keep
All
going.
right.
So.
All right. Well, hey, thanks again for everything you're doing. we'll talk again at some point and talk about your interesting story, which is pretty fantastic on its own. But for now, thanks again, Chef Sangeeta Lakhani, for taking the time and for everything you're doing, and your entire team with Matt Heaggans, Catie Randazzo, and Letha Pugh. So, guys, if you can afford it, I know a lot of us are struggling financially. Please, if you can, go to www.servicerelief.org. Donate money. I'm sure they'll post volunteer opportunities there if they can as well. And if you're a service industry employee, and you're out of work right now, this is your chance. You've taken good care of us for forever. You've always taken good care of us, and this is a chance for somebody to take care of you, which is probably a little bit uncomfortable, but this is what we do in Columbus, and so please take advantage of this if you need it, if you need that service. Well, otherwise, I hope everybody takes care. We're a month into this thing, and I think we're going to we're doing okay. We just got to pull through this a little bit longer. So until next time, thanks for tuning in to the Rock Doc Chronicles.